Greetings, people. It's Mr. Pull the Trigger yet again on another episode of the Enlightenment series. So people, they have been saying, Prof, listen, also slide in, commercial breaks, talk about other charlatans. Don't let them breathe too much because they need also to be under the same fire that Jeremiah Omoto Fofeni is going, is going through. They also need to feel the same heat and the same pressure. But yes, I understand that we have to also, disseminate this pressure. We have to also share these atrocities equally amongst them so that there shall be no rest for the wicked. But the reason why we are so central on Jeremiah Omoto is because the case that involves Jeremiah Omoto is very sensitive. The case that involves Jeremiah Omoto involves a missing child. The case that involves Jeremiah Omoto involves so many atrocities to this family. What this family went through under the wings of Jeremiah Omoto is unbelievable. It's unbearable. That's why we have to exert as much pressure and as much force as possible to Jeremiah Omoto Fofeni so that we can at least get justice and retrieve this missing baby testimony because he's alive. It has been confirmed after 2 years of his disappearance at Mercy City. It has been confirmed that he's alive. So we can't afford to loosen the grip on Omoto. We can't even afford to let Omoto breathe for a single day. Because the moment he breathes, he will feel like this has gone past. He will feel like this case is a bygone. Like how he prophesied on that video, which did not, on that prophecy, which did not manifest when he was saying that in 4 days, testimony will be found. What will you do if this baby comes out from nowhere? Then he also went on to proclaim that in 4 days, at the end of this month, this case of the missing baby will be a bygone. So here we are not just trying to prove him wrong, but we just want him to also come to grips with the fact that this case will not be a bygone. The only time that this case will be a bygone is after we have gotten testimony, after testimony has been reunited with the family. But I do understand your sentiments, though, to say that we have to keep on, bringing in all these other baby charlatans. So the one that we are going to start with is Chris Okafor, the one from Nigeria. Most of you know him from that famous fake miracle that he performed of the lady that had, a short arm. And he claimed to be strengthening and restoring the bone marrow and the bones on the lady's arm, which turned out that other five fake prophets had also performed the same miracle. So on this particular gentleman, he calls himself Dr. Chris now. I also don't know where they get these doctorate titles. I don't know how they end, who crowns them to be doctors, or it's just a way of them trying to, separate themselves from the flock or from the pack of wolves so that they don't fall in the same category as all of these other self-proclaimed prophets. Because they're also self-proclaimed doctors, as they call themselves. Maybe on the hierarchy of the prophetic, we have doctors at the top. Very soon you'll be hearing Jeremiah Omoto calling himself Dr. Prophet Jeremiah Omoto. We also have Dr. Chris Oyakilome, Dr. T.B. Joshua, Dr. Chris Okafor. Let's stop on this time of Dr. Chris Okafor. I have done so many episodes concerning Dr. Chris Okafor. And the one that hit his nerve, and like I've done different episodes concerning him, the one that hit his nerve, because I heard that he was not happy about the previous video that I did of a lady who alleged that he was sexually manipulated by Dr. Chris Okafor in Cameroon. And he kind of disputed and said, no, he has no idea of that incident. He has no record of him being in Cameroon. That's why I always put my number here so that if there are any other, charlatans who feel like we are defaming their characters, they can have an opportunity to dispute anything that I put across to the public. They can have an opportunity to call me and tell me that, Prof X, the story that you ran concerning this issue is not accurate or it's not true. But most of them, they are skeptical. They are afraid to call me because they know I'll be recording. Yes, I've made it clear to everyone that all my calls are on record. And they think they are so important, these charlatans, these false prophets. They think they are so important to be on record. Do you know how many recordings? All my recordings, they're just for, for quality assurance and evaluation. It's not like every time I have a call with everyone, I have to record it. And every call that I have, I always make a disclaimer with the caller and ask them, do you want this call on record or not? Do you want this reposted on my, on my public platforms or not? There's no recording that I've ever posted here without the consent of the next party. Because, it's criminal for you to post a private conversation without the consent of the next party that you were conversating with. So all of my telephonic conversations, I always make that disclaimer at the beginning of each and every call. Brother, sister, do you want this to be used for public consumption, or do you want this to be a private conversation? Is it a personal conversation, or do you want it to be aired in the public? And most of everyone that I post, they always say that, yes, I want it to be shared. I want the world to hear my story. So to those of you that think that I'm secretly recording, I don't secretly record. I record. All my calls are on record. I have almost telephonic conversations with the most relevant people that most of you can't even begin to imagine. So I actually laugh when I hear African prophets saying that, we can't call to, to give our side of the story because we'll be recorded. I will never repost a private conversation without the consent of the other part. Like I always say, I'm not doing this for clout. I can imagine if other bloggers had information that I have, or have conversations that I have, they will be all over the internet. Oh, I spoke to Dr. Chris Oyakilome. Oh, I spoke to TB Joshua on the phone. Oh, I spoke to Hubert Angel. I spoke to Makandiwa. I don't have to post those things because they don't bring any justification to what we are standing for. This is the Enlightenment series. I'm not trying to gain clout so that people can see me as relevant because I'm talking with these charlatans. Talking with these charlatans, it's a bonus for them. Them calling me and me accepting their call, it's a bonus. I think I should even put a fee for them to have access, for them or for me to allow them to give me their side of the story. The same way that they charge people for one-on-one. It's a privilege. I can take the call of any one of you people, any given time. Most of you call me every day and I always take your calls. And we can have a lengthy conversation, 20 minutes to 30 minutes. But when it comes to these false prophets, when they want to call me and they want to make an appointment, there should be a fee somewhere, somehow. They must be charged. If they want to give me their side of the story, if they want me to sell their side of the story, or for them to defend themselves from allegations that would have made, I think we should start charging them so that it does not become too easy for them, the same way they charge other people. So I heard that Mr. Dr. Chris Okafor was not happy, not just happy, and he was not happy because he claims the testimonial or the allegations that were laid on him by this lady from Cameroon were not true, were not accurate. He claims he's never been to Cameroon. To those of you that missed the conversation, you can check on my platform. It's still there. And whenever I will get to the point whereby I find out that the information that I had posted was inaccurate, or the lady that called me alleging what she was alleging was not accurate, I don't have pride. I'll go and I'll take it off. I'll pull it down. But I'll never make an apology. I'll just rectify the problem. We are not in the business of apologizing to charlatans. When we get information that is not accurate, but I have not yet, in my history, I have not yet gotten any information that was not accurate. I have close to 5,000 stories, testimonials that I get from people. I always evaluate and cross-examine them. The ones which I do not see fit or as accurate, or the ones that I think are suspicious, because charlatans also are sending people to call me with testimonials so that they can do some sort of damage control, so that they can trap me into posting those things. And tomorrow you see that person that I had posted in their shrines apologizing, saying that Prof X had bought me to lie against men of God. So don't think I'm naive. I cross-examine each and every piece of content that I put on this platform. So in the case of this lady in Cameroon, her details were so accurate to a point that I did not have a single shred of doubt in her confession or in her testimonial concerning her experience with Chris Okafor in Cameroon, where she alleges that she was sexually manipulated. Let me just play a small snippet of how she narrates and what she explained concerning her sexual encounter with Dr. Chris Okafor, as he calls himself.
Like I told you, Prof X, the thing is, during that moment that I slept with this pastor, I was not really born again. I was not really deep into the things of God. So I just lived my normal life. But one thing I believe that happened to me is that one thing I'm very sure is that Pastor Chris saw this calling of God upon my life. He saw it. He used that evil spirit to see it. And perhaps as he slept with me like that, it delayed me into coming into to fulfilling my purpose. Because I know what the Lord has gone through to bring me to where I am now. So I believe that that thing that he did to me was like a spell that he did to me to try to run away from my calling, you know. But about my spiritual life, I cannot say my spiritual life went down because I was not deep into God at that moment. That in those days I was just a normal Christian who didn't know anything about God. But I believe that he saw this calling upon my life, and perhaps what he did to me was to destroy it. But God always has mercy. I believe that God had mercy on me and did not allow his plans to come to pass. So that is all I can really say.
Something that I want to highlight from what you just said here is, like I always tell people, that if you're not spiritually connected to these men, there is nothing that they can ever do to you. Even if they sleep with you, there is nothing that can ever be left on you, because you're not part of this spiritual fatherhood kind of a connection. The ones that are at risk are those calling them Papa, my father. As you heard this lady, she was in the world. She was just doing this, because, it was just at that time. She was not even deeply involved in these things of church. But when she went for one-on-one, she was told to bring oil. Was it oil or, I don't remember, I think it was oil. Okafor told her to bring oil so that he can pray for that oil, because she was still a student in Cameroon. And when she brought that oil to Chris Okafor, the conversation changed. She only realized it sometime later that she had no clothes. She only realized it at a later stage that, she had slept with the guy. So in that respect, in that aspect, those are the things we need to address. Because according to me and according to statutory law, that will be classified as rape. No, there's no consent here. No, there's no consent here. It's called manipulation. If you are a woman and a man makes you sleep with him, when you are not ready, it's rape. Without your consent, it's rape. If a man that you hold in high regard, a man that you have so much respect for, that you merely have an objection towards anything that he can suggest to you, and finally successfully leads you into bed with him because of the position that he holds into your life, and you realize it 2 months later that you slept with this man, but you couldn't voice out. You couldn't challenge him. You couldn't say no because of the respect you have for him, because of the office that he probably bears or the office that he's in. Because most people, they go to these men of God for prayers. And in between the prayer lines and the declarations, buttons are being opened. Hands are being slid in on the thighs of the lady. My daughter, how are you feeling? And that man is touching you. He's going all over you. I'm feeling okay, Daddy. You will be overwhelmed. You respect this man. You can't scream rape. You can't scream no. You can't do it because you're under the spell. You have been hypnotized. You are being manipulated. No, my daughter, don't worry. This is nothing. You are doing this for God. I'm very tired, my daughter. Can you give me a massage? My back is painful. And when you're about to give the man of God a massage, you say, no, my daughter, let me take off my shirt. You're unconscious of this whole thing. And when this thing is happening, you don't even know what is happening yourself. You won't even know. You will find yourself, adhering to everything that he's saying. You will find yourself agreeing to everything that he's saying. Because you're under a spell. And he has hypnotized and manipulated you. No, my daughter, let me take off my shirt. Hey, my back, I have knots on my back. You find yourself massaging him. Oh, my daughter, your clothes are rubbing me. They are scratching me. Can you take them off so that you can give me a nuru massage? They call it a nuru massage. To those of you who have not yet been in the world, to those of you that just woke up spiritual, and up to now you are still spiritual, and you don't even know what it means to be spiritual, there's what is called a nuru massage. And when they request for a nuru massage, they require you to take off all of your clothes so that you become nude-like. And they'll also take off all their clothes in the name of a massage. In that time, there will be a lot of arousement. And you as a woman, you don't know what's going on. You just think you are doing this for the papa. You just think it's not going to lead to what you think it's going to lead, or to what you had not anticipated that it will lead to. But one thing will lead to the other. And before you know it, they have slept with you. That is rape. You did not consent to any of this sexual advancement. You did not know that this man was going to sleep with you. All that was in your head was thinking that, okay, I'm just servicing my father, my spiritual father. He was preaching all day. He must be tired now. So who am I to say, to not help the anointing upon my father, to relieve my father of the tension and the pressure that he has been going through. You find yourself, complying to everything that is requesting of you to do. But you, when you went to this hotel room, you were under the impression that you are going to get a prayer. But when this happens, you realize that, you slept with him. A day later, you might not even know that you were raped. A week later, you might not even know. Some people have delayed reactions. You can even start realizing it after 1 year, after 2 years, after 5 years, that you were raped. Some people have a delayed reaction. Whenever you realize it, it's never too late for you to report it. Even when you bring it up now, we still classify it as rape. So that is wickedness. We are not worried about Okafor's weaknesses. All of them, they have the weakness of women. They all fall prey to women. Their zips, they don't have a PIN code or a password. Their zips are always open and they're always ready to attack. They're always ready to sleep with anyone. That's why most of them end up sleeping with the wives of their junior pastors. That's a weakness. They have a sexual weakness. They have this appetite for sexual intercourse that is insatiable. They'll sleep with anything in a skirt, in a dress. If we can put a dress on a tree, believe you me, you will find these charlatans on that tree. You will find these charlatans making their way on that tree. That's how immoral they are. That's how weak they are to these things that concerns women. They are very susceptible to sexual intercourse. They would rather not go to service. Some of them, before they even go to minister in their churches, they sleep with women. They sleep with their daughters. So that is the case that we are looking at. And now I'm placing a challenge on the particular lady that gave us this testimony to actually confirm it and give us the details. Because Okafor, according to what I heard, that is denying. He's saying he has no hand in any of these incidences or in any of what has been alleged against him. And on the same note of Okafor, there's a case that I'm investigating as well. Because I have informers. I have people from inside, my informers. We can't be doing this without informers. We need informers. People that give us information, that help us to expose, the immorality in the church of God. And one of my informers confided in me and told me that he even sent me Chris Okafor's passport. The passport that he uses when he's traveling for some of his, private dates, for some of his underground vacations with a specific lady from South Africa. I'm not going to mention a name now because I have not yet confirmed the details. As soon as I confirm the details, I'll bring the gist. And the reason why we expose these things is not because Chris Okafor is having an entanglement with this lady. The reason why I'll expose it is because this lady is married. If this happens, if I find out that it's true, then the church of God needs to know. The husband of the lady needs to know that the wife has been going around with the prophet. If this was just a regular lady, I wouldn't care because it's a weakness. I will classify it as Chris Okafor's weakness of wanting to have some, of being promiscuous, even though we can't tolerate it in the church of God, even though we can't tolerate it in the office of a prophet, as he calls himself. If this lady was single, I would just listen to it and just say, okay, it's his weakness. He will be judged according to his weaknesses. We only get involved when it tends to be a wickedness. When Chris Okafor can actually know that this lady is married, and then he can still go on to sleep with the same lady, that's adultery. What about the family that is about to endanger, that is about to break? Because these men they've broken so many families. So my informer attested to this, that she has or he has all the records of their travelings. or to their secret destinations, to their honeymoons. Do they call them honeymoons? Or to their holiday resorts, Zanzibar, different destinations where they'll be going to chop your tithe money and your seeds money with married women. Because this woman happens to be Chris Okafor's daughter. She subscribes and affiliates to Chris Okafor. So, these women that are married, as long as you are a man and your wife is going to a prophetic ministry, you must know one thing for sure, that she'll never listen to you. She'll listen, her spiritual father is the one that makes decisions for you in your house. You can never control a woman. If you are married, my brother, if you are married, I know you can attest to what I'm saying. You can never control your woman if she's deep into these things of the prophetic, of these prophetic churches. Do you know the one that is calling the shots in your house, my brother, is the prophet? Because 99% of the time, your wife is sleeping with the prophet. And the wife will be having this arrogance in the house that you can't control her. You can't tell her what to do. She does what she pleases, when she pleases. When she pleases, when she wants. No, Daddy said this. No, Papa said this. And you, my brother, once you see that woman is going to a prophetic church, leave, my brother. Pack your clothes and move out. You don't deserve it. You can't have another man, dipping his hands into your cookie jar. As a man, you can't allow that to happen. It's not right. Move, my brother. There are many flowers out there. Don't settle thinking that the woman will change. The woman is captured. She will do anything. She will be the one to say, Papa, Daddy, let's give money to the prophet. He's doing so much for the children of God. This is how it works. This is how they break marriages. So as soon as I verify the facts, I'll bring you the gist. These are things we need to expose. We don't measure much. Me personally, I don't measure much on scandals, on their secret, scandals of infidelity when they are sleeping with girls, that's not important. Those are scandals which are too light for me. Me, I'm anointed for difficult matters. I'm anointed for serious matters, which involves our involvement, which we need to correct in the church of God. Because as a man of God, obviously, we can't allow you to be promiscuous as well. But when it's still a weakness, we still give you a chance, hoping that you will change as time goes on. But if you persist, if you continue along this path, then we'll eventually bring you to order. The likes of the Chris Okafors are not yet really wicked. They have not yet reached that level of wickedness. They are still succumbing to weaknesses. We can't compare the Chris Okafors with the Joshua Iginlas. We can't. We can't compare the Chris Okafors with the Jeremiah Omotos. We can't. The Omotos, they've reached that level of wickedness. The Omotos, the TB Joshuas, those are wicked. The Chris Oyakilomes, they are wicked. And we have your Oyedepos, these have weaknesses. Their weaknesses is money. The Adeboyes, their weakness is money. So that is the demarcation that we use to classify the depth of their sin, to see how far they have gone in this world of darkness. So we have gotten to that point now we can't entertain even the weaknesses. We have to get to a point whereby we start exposing everything, so that anyone that stands on the pulpit is holy, is pure, and is cleansed of all the blemishes that might short-circuit their ability or their potential to deliver the pure gospel of our Lord and our personal Savior, Jesus Christ. So when we come to expose these people, sometimes that's where you see most of them. They start pushing back. They start hitting back. They start doing damage control. Some even, it led us into detainment. That time that I was detained is because I was exposing things. And the thing that I was talking about, they might have struck a nerve. And the only option of last resort that they could probably have was, let's get this young man arrested. Let's get him detained. Let's make him go through the worst. And I went through the worst and the most. I know most of you are still waiting to hear what happened. We are getting there. I take my time. I'm not in a hurry to anywhere. I take my time. And I was subjected to crazy conditions, which we shall visit at a later stage. And I want to say to those brothers, to the brothers that were behind all that madness, when you do, Prof, those kind of things, me, I'm not spiritual to that extent that I'll say, God will vindicate me. Me, I want to be compensated. I want my compensation for everything that you people made me go through. And when I say you people, you know who I'm talking about. Some say, no, how can people do this to you? You are just making this up. The people that know, they know. Then it's still up to me to decide to let you know what happened. But the people that were involved, they know. I want my compensation in full for the damages and emotional trauma that you made me go through. Oh, you want to blackmail false prophets? If you call this blackmail, that's your own issue. If you call this extortion, that's your own issue. Because I have the legal capacity and the legal right to sue them if I want to, if I have to. But just that I don't have time for all those things. I don't have time to be going to courts. We have a lot to accomplish here. We have a lot to do. So I'm throwing a cave ball at them. Compensate the professor. Give the professor his dues for the damage that you caused to the professor. I know you thought you were breaking my spirit or you were intimidating me, not knowing that you were empowering me. I am this that I am today because of what I went through in those 7 days. I'm overcompensating for the pain that I felt and for all the madness that I went through or that you made me go through. Like I'm having this settlement with you out of court. It's called an out of court settlement. I know some of you will say that you are blackmailing. If I'm blackmailing, then it's up to them to decide whether it's a blackmail or it's a favor that I'm doing them. Maybe they might say it's a blackmail, but it's up to them to decide whether I'm blackmailing them or I'm doing them a favor. Even after we find testimony, after we establish facts that Jeremiah Omoto was involved in the abduction of testimony, Jeremiah has to compensate the family of Ruth Matthew handsomely. He has to take out everything that he has ever worked for in all these years that he has been manipulating and stealing from people and compensate the family. Ruth might come out of this a multi-billionaire. You see, we are going to transfer the billionaire status of Jeremiah Omoto to Ruth Matthew as soon as we establish that Jeremiah Omoto had his hand in the abduction of testimony. Because we are getting there and we are going to establish all those facts. Sooner or later, there's no hurry. And these people, they have to pay damages. We're not going to be lenient with them. It's biblical. The wealth of the wicked shall be used by the righteous. If you do not read your Bibles, then let me open the Bible for you. Let me make it a biblical reference to you so that you know. Let's open Proverbs. Proverbs 13 verse 22. What does it say? A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. Open your Proverbs again. Let's go through it. Proverbs 13 verse 22. It reads, a good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children. And a good person that is being referred to here is a righteous man. But a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous, and a sinner that is being referred here is the wicked. And these men are wicked. So everything that they are working for, it belongs to us, the righteous. We just need to find a way for this wealth that they are storing up. We need to find a channel that we can use to get all this wealth out of their possession and bring it to the righteous. There is no rest for the wicked. They are piling up all this wealth, the Oedipus, they are the boys. For us, the righteous, we are the ones who will be the beneficiaries of all this that they are doing. The Jeremiah Omotos, we are going to be the one who will enjoy the billions that they are accumulating because we are the righteous. Some will say, no, it's blood money. We will cleanse it. We will cleanse it. We will make it go through Mauritius. We'll make it go through Afghanistan. By the time it gets to Germany, to China, and then by the time it gets to us, it will be clean. Whatever blood that was on it, it will be cleansed. Yeah, it is what it is. So that's my case. So, going back to the main topic, to the main subject that we were discussing about Okafor and the specific lady that is in question. We'll wait, and then I'm going to also re-verify the story of the lady. And I'm sure she was going to come through. She even called me. She wanted to come through again. But I'm going now to ask her to give us more details as to the validity of the confession or of the testimony that she gave us, so that we can know who's lying. Is it Dr. Chris or is it the lady? If the lady has misrepresented some facts, then we have to put her to question. If we made a publication that was not accurate in disfavor of Dr. Chris, then we'll come back again on this platform, we'll rectify that. There is no integrity lost when we uphold to our values and norms and our principles and our honor. Saying you were wrong, it does not take away any integrity. That's one thing these charlatans should know. That when we catch them in the wrong, they should admit that I was wrong. I'm sorry, people. This might not happen again. Jeremiah just has to come out and say, listen, I'm sorry I took that child because I wanted to make him my own. Please, people, forgive me. We are forgiving people who pardon him. When these people rap, they should just come and say, yes, I was, the desires of my flesh, they outweighed the desires of not sinning. So I ended up forcing myself on this lady. Please forgive me. Then we'll see if the lady that you raped was willing to forgive you, and then we can move on. But it is the pride that makes people die in sin. The resistance to be corrected is what makes people die in sin. We are all bound to be corrected. We all make mistakes. But in as far as the Enlightenment series is concerned, I have not yet made any publication that I have gone back to read to correct, because I verify everything that I put up on this platform, because my integrity is on the line. My integrity is on the line. And all those people that bring me stories, I always make sure I verify. Do you know I have close to 5,000 testimonials? These charlatans, sometimes even they send their own people to come and try to trap me with their false testimonies. But the Spirit of the living God in me, it tells me, it senses. You can't be a good liar. Not all people are good liars. You can't make up a story and make it sound so real to a person like me. We always go through the detail. We always go through everything. And it's only after my spirit approves of a story, that's when I'll post it. So that's the same with all the stories that I've posted. I consider all of them to be accurate. And they've always been accurate. So till I meet you again on the next episode of the Enlightenment series, it's Mr. Pull the Trigger. I'm out.